Tonight on Podcast 'em Down, we object to intellect without discipline and power without constructive purpose.
Hey, Metal Nation. Oh, yeah, it's the short one because
It's the shorty guy.
we got to dive right into this
We do.
this Star Trek episode. So, for those of you who are new here, it is I, Tim, and I'm joined... I love how it just cuts off. I will never fix that. It is I, Tim, and with me, as always, is Matt and Doug. Or is it grammatically correct to say with me, as always, are Matt and Doug? There we go. This is a good place to be pedantic. So, was that the how do you do, or was that the
how do you
along?
do? No, that was the how do you do again. It's especially appropriate today, as we'll find out.
Oh, interesting. All right, so this is our series where we rewatch Star Trek: The Original Series, and for some of us, we watch it the first time during the show, and by some of us, I mean me. So, and then we decide how metal each act is, and how good each act is, because the ultimate quest is to figure out. I have a complete compendium of how metal Star Trek: The Original Series is.
/good.
And now...
We're here for our discerning metal patrons.
And now it's time to move this high-energy show along. I got my cheese.
Hip, hurrah.
I got my Romulan ale.
That's already sounds pretty gross.
Yep. And, got my soundboard. All right,
Wait,
go.
are we in the decision?
Go.
Wait, hold on. Wait. We're already in the decision chamber. We got to get out. We can't start in the decision chamber. We gotta get back out. We gotta step out.
Do we need to step out of the decision chamber?
We do. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So,
Okay.
like many episodes, we open on the bridge. And there's an excellent tracking shot of the distribution of coffee, if I recall.
Yeah, there are. If we have up until this point really been enjoying the paper cups, but they went to town on paper cups. There are paper cups sitting on consoles, which I'm sure is not safe in any way. There's paper cups everywhere. They're having a cup party, basically. It's amazing.
I'm trying not to make a 2 girls 1 cup joke.
Well, you already did.
All right, as I've said many times, I'm watching the remastered version, and the quality's so good you can see everyone's eyeliner.
And you can see those cups in stunning HD, can't you?
Right.
Maybe even 4K. It could be 4K corrugated cardboard cups.
4K?
Possibly.
I
don't know.
That. Instead of paying attention, I'll look into whether this is 4K or not. Go ahead.
Okay, so despite the fact that there's a bounty of cups, the Enterprise is actually traveling through a star desert, whatever that means. Now, I always thought that was just called space, right? the place between stars, but apparently there's a particular feature here in the galaxy called a star desert. That's a region of space where solar systems are not common. And they have some weird banter about deserts, and oases and camels for some reason.
Really important interruption.
Yeah.
Oddly, this is only 720p. And I can still see all the eye makeup. Oh shit!
Oh, good. Don't jump. Don't.
What? What's happening?
Hold on.
Get there! Come on! I'm ahead of you. Full reverse power. Get on it. Get your shit together.
Can you hear Doug? I can't hear Doug.
Oh, I can't hear Doug either.
I'm muted. Oh, dang.
Oh, okay.
I've been saying things.
Oh no!
I've just been.
I was talking about the romance in the desert, which is kind of weird. Spock doesn't get, despite coming from Vulcan. I guess it's not a setting. Anyway, they said that it expects some sizable space displacement.
Mm-hmm.
And wait, isn't space the lack of
shut up
matter? How do you have a displacement of nothing?
When you're in a desert void.
Oh, it's a desert. I did forget it's a desert. A space desert.
Void. All of a sudden, the void displays characteristics that are unvoid-like.
You mean there's stuff in it?
Yeah. And holy shit, here comes a thing, and that thing is a planet, right? There's just this planet randomly there. It's an iron silica planet, which is very meaningful for us. They try to radio back to Starfleet Command, but there's subspace interference. And then as soon as they try to make their next move, all of a sudden, Sulu and Captain Kirk disappear. Waboom!
Sal helpfully calls out.
Yeah.
And then the end.
End teaser.
Then full reverse power.
Full reverse power, yeah.
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Tim, you seem to react strongly, so you go first.
Agreed.
Oh, well, I enjoyed the part where they disappeared for no reason.
Okay.
And it's the point of the teaser is to get you to want to watch the rest of the episode. And from the coffee irresponsibly placed on the slanted panels to the sudden disappearance of two of the officers. Yeah, I think I want to watch the rest. So quality wise, I'm gonna give it a 7.
Wow. Okay.
That was a quality teaser. It wasn't very metal though. Coffee.
Deserts.
Yeah, the deserts.
Deserts metal. Deserts.
Iron nickel or whatever the fuck it was.
Iron silica.
Metal.
Iron
planet.
silica.
That could be metal.
Yep.
And deserts, I feel like, are death metal. Unless it's like the Antarctic, then it's black metal.
Yeah, that's black metal.
So, it wasn't as metal as it was good, so I'm gonna give it a 5.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I agree. But in the opposite way, I think it's a 5 quality. Nothing
You're
really
fucking
happens
wrong.
all that much, but it's a good, opening teaser. I felt teased. I don't know what's going to happen. But actually, I'm going to give it a 7 metal score, because I like the willful disregard of equipment care, and just placing coffee cups on it. I like deserts. Deserts are pretty metal. And I think it's pretty metal when people just fucking disappear. And, and even though nothing has happened to the ship itself, your immediate thought is just to jam it in reverse. I mean, these are great acting without thinking type things that I associate with metal.
Well, I was going to say stimulants are metal. So
stimulants are pretty metal.
It is. Yeah, it's like when John Schaefer fires a singer. So it was kind of like.
Upcoming episode. Actually, by the time this airs, we might have already recorded and aired the other episode. But I wanted to do a. I shouldn't tell you because it's another competition.
Oh,
and it's
man.
Vaguely related to John Schaefer firing singers.
All right. I'm going to go disagree with both of you by going 6 and 6.
All right.
For the aforementioned reasons, just you're wrong in the scores.
Just the balance was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
All right.
All right. Sorry. I saw the word harpsichord and some other choice words from the forthcoming act, and I'm worried.
Oh, don't be worried. Be excited. All right. So, there's some discussion here Interestingly, I don't think there are many ship's logs.
Hey,
There
you're right.
are,
You're right.
but they're
Well,
kind
it's
of like
because- That's because Kirk disappeared.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Well, they don't do weird supplemental logs or like
Yeah.
logs where they couldn't record them. Like it's not Kirk. Like I can't move. No, I don't want to give anything away.
I mean, that would be amazing if he was recording it from a void. I have no idea what's going on or where I am or when it is. End log entry. So, they're floating around the planet. They're in orbit of the mystery planet. But they're searching for human life and they can't find anything. Even though they're checking all the wave bands, because I know the first thing you thought was maybe they're not checking all the wave bands. No, Uhura reassures Spock they're checking all of the wave bands. Our good buddy and constant friend, Mr. Desal, is being pretty preachy. And he just wants to transport to the surface of the planet to carry out a search. Despite
McCoy
the fact
being McCoy, he just wants to escalate things.
Yeah. McCoy decides that he's the doctor and therefore calling the shots. Mr. Yeager is there for some reason. Right now he's talking about vegetation, but later he's introduced as a meteorologist. But apparently that means something like a geologist or planetologist in the future.
I just want to interject. You saying Jaeger and shots in the in adjacent sentences.
Oh yeah,
is not an endorsement unless you want it to be. So, Mr. Jaeger.
I'm going to interject because I do love how throughout this episode McCoy mispronounces his name.
Oh, how does he? I didn't catch that. How was
he
it?
Just says Jagger.
like he reads his name but doesn't know the man.
And it's very interesting. Jaeger doesn't correct him.
Well, McCoy is a superior officer and first class medical drunk, so maybe there's no point to it. Okay, so they're just talking and kind of squabbling when all of a sudden on the screen comes the weirdest thing. Weird Gothic letters appear.
Yeah, I like how the transmission has a font.
Yeah. And so Spock starts reading it. And he is not very pleased with what it says. It includes the phrases hip hip hurrah and tally ho. Again, weird statements. And so they decide that this warrants further investigation. So they go down to the planet, or I guess they decide they can go down to the planet.
Yeah.
But they also decide that Spock's too important to go. Again, this is a weird decision of personnel here. Again, we're really lacking the personnel director sorely. So both Spock decides that he and Scotty are too important to go, even though they go on away missions all the time. But in this case, for some reason, they're too important. So they send McCoy, Mr. DeSalle, and Jaeger down.
No red shirts.
No red shirts. A blue guy.
Two blue guys.
Two blue guys and a yellow guy.
All right, so the yellow guy, when he turns on his space beacon.
Yep.
Yeah, his middle fingernail's purple. What's up with that?
Maybe he smashed it with a space hammer?
He got space injured.
Yeah.
But anyway, he turns on his beacon. And they all wore their COVID masks.
Oh yeah. They all wore. Because DeSalle, or is it Jaeger, who's the meteorologist, tells them that there's like no oxygen and like a deadly toxic tornado. So it's like a very hostile atmosphere. So that's why they're wearing their COVID masks.
Yeah, it's deadly to any life form such as we know it without oxygen and life support systems. So that does both, clearly.
Yeah, and they wisely took them off about 15 seconds after transporting to the planet.
Well, yeah, because they beam down and they immediately discover oxygen. And
meteorologists are always full of shit.
Yeah, there's grass and trees and shit. So they're like, well, you don't know anything, stupid Jaeger. Piece of garbage.
There aren't any odorless gases.
Yeah, there aren't any odorless poisoning gases in any known space inventory.
All right, so then they're in the woods, and then the Saul sees a building as he's attempting to find open ground for the space beacon. And there's a good couple of establishing shots, really well done for what is probably the bridge set redressed or something.
Oh, look out! Go ahead.
But we see, in the name of heaven, where are we? Says McCoy.
Hey, there they are. Oh, they're not good at that.
We see a kind of a pastiche of medieval and was 17th, 16th, 17th century stuff. 18th. And we see a salt vampire.
Yep. Yeah, there's a nice little Easter egg. Like in a little corner alcove thing there.
And it's still.
Yeah. It's like a trophy, I guess. Might be the best way to describe.
There's also a suit of armor, a harpsichord.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of European flags.
Yep. There's all kinds of stuff going on in this room. Oh, the mirror. Yeah. Oh, good pointing out the mirror. There's definitely a mirror in there.
Yeah, there's a couple of frozen green Star Trek officers, and then there's
wait, what?
And then some stained glass windows.
Wait, go back. What did you say?
The curtains. So they look to be golden in color.
Yeah, no. Go back,
deeper gold than the yellow shirts.
Oh, the yellow shirts, you say. Does that remind you of anybody?
No.
So, of course, Sulu and Kirk are frozen in equally suspended animation.
All right, and they clearly had the actors freeze in place.
Yeah.
Because you can see Kirk blink, and you can see...
and they're trying very hard to hold
you can
still.
see him, like...
Yeah, there's a little...
there's movement.
Yeah, it's like, I'm pretty still. But... So, when the group comes in, there's a figure playing a harpsichord in sort of a weird, would you call that foppish, Doug?
Say foppish, yeah.
All right, yeah. He's a very blue velvet coat, very ornate, vaguely Regency.
I think he could be foppier, more fop.
Well, he could be foppier, but he's a military man, as we'll soon find out. So he turns around and introduces himself. And Kirk and Sulu are reanimated. And then we get a very long and tedious back and forth between this Trelane character and Captain Kirk. Why they were frozen and why they had to wait until the other three people came, I'm not sure. But then Trelane, who is this person, introduces himself as a retired general, and he's really fascinated with Earth. He's been watching Earth a lot. And we get the sense from talking with him that his knowledge of Earth is about 900 years behind the time, which makes sense because they're 900 light years from Earth. So he's watching transmissions from, I guess that would be like the 18th
Point of
century?
order. There weren't transmissions then.
Well, then how the fuck is Trelane learning about all these things like harpsichords and Germans and stuff? So you're clearly wrong. Huh?
Nothing.
That,
I was just reading the subtitles aloud.
Your theories from Earth, all right. He curiously refers to them as a predator species. And then we get into some weird, shameful dialecting.
So, I'm not there yet.
Oh, well, man, you might even have to turn the sound on for this or go back and listen.
He said, I want you to feel at home.
Yeah. So again, he's talking about all this stuff. He's welcoming these gentlemen into his drawing room, I guess. And things are about to get fun because he's gonna learn the names of the people who came down. Right?
Yes. I don't know. You said this scene is quite long, and it is quite long.
He talks still a lot. Going. He really talks a lot. He talks about conquest. He talks about battles. But then finally, Kirk tells DeSalle to put his phaser on stun. And Trelane lights up when he hears DeSalle and asks if he's French in a horrible French dialect. And then he starts doing the worst, high school theater department French accent you've ever heard.
Oh, was this what I have to unmute for?
Yeah. It's great. It's great. And it gets better from there. He talks about Napoleon. Kirk is introducing everybody. Mr. DeSalle is the navigator. McCoy is the medical officer. Sulu is the helmsman. And of course, everybody's favorite German Carl Jaeger, meteorologist. Oh my God. And then he does an even weirder German, bad Nazi accent for a while.
What? Wait.
Yeah.
So he kind of goose steps.
He does kind of goose step, doesn't he?
Which doesn't work for the time period.
No.
Well, it does.
Well, it does.
There's a mirror there, Dick. Don't point a phaser at him.
Okay, so Jaeger points out that he's a scientist, not a military man, which is weird because he's in a military uniform when he's saying that. And then Trelane comments that they're all military men under their skins. And then it just goes on, and they talk about, this is such a long fucking scene.
Yeah, how about in the interest of time, let's skip to the good stuff.
Okay, right. Well, what is the good stuff, Doug? I think this is the good stuff.
He shoots a bunch of statues. All right, here, I'll tell you what happens.
Okay,
he freezes the guy, he takes his phaser, he's like, oh, phaser, and then he shoots a bunch of statues, and then they talk, and then they talk, and then they talk, and then they talk.
Right, yeah,
and they talk, and then he says, I want you to be happy, and then they talk some more, and Jesus fuck, I wish something else would happen.
And then, See what I mean?
Oh, and then Kirk disappears again. Oh, and now he's at a Sun O concert because there's a lot of fog. And now oh, Kirk's back and now he's coughing.
He was in the natural atmosphere of the planet, for your information.
Yeah, but for the planet outside my kindly influence. Yeah. All right, so he talks some more at him now that something exciting happens, and then it goes black. All right, finally, Jesus.
And that's Act 1.
All right, that totally sucked. It had lots of promise, and then they managed to ruin it with talking. So it could have gotten a 9, but instead it gets a 2. All right, and then for metalness, again, swing and a miss. So it was.
Didn't find his imperial attitude very metal.
Yeah.
His bloviating kind of ruined everything for me.
You didn't think his coat was very metal?
Matthias Blad does wear a coat like that in the liner notes for Northwind, the album, the Falconer album. However, is way more Swedish than that French foppish deal. So
Okay.
I'm gonna deduct many points. I'm gonna give the metalness a 1 because that was fucking god awful. And I feel like the teaser betrayed me, so I want to add a metal point to the teaser because it betrayed me.
Wow. Because it set you up. It set you up for something better.
Yeah, for such disappointment.
So I'm not sure. Why don't you go ahead, Doug?
You know, I think his arrogant attitude and the fact that even here it's pretty obvious he doesn't understand what he's talking about is pretty metal. And then his challenging Kirk on their purpose in the stars.
That's pretty metal.
Yeah, and all the uncomfortable things about it were pretty metal too. And more fundamentally, this act almost works in that they didn't need to show them investigating the planet, putting on space atmosphere things, beaming down to the planet, and then wandering into a castle in the woods. And until the Trelane speech thing, which is a little overlong, but that act is fairly intense for what is essentially there to pad the runtime for the first half.
Okay, I like what you're saying there. So, how are we quantifying
that? 5 and 5.
5. Okay.
Wrong.
Well, he's righter than you think. What we didn't point out is we missed an ethnic stereotype that Trelane uses, because he always refers to Sulu as Honorable Sir. And
I'm glad I missed that.
And I think he warbles that RL a little bit too. So that's got to be taken into account. Now
I want to interrupt you. I recently read Dr. No, the James Bond novel, and they go to great lengths to explain that Dr. No is not. They do not use the preferred nomenclature, but basically they're like someone says he's Chinese. Well, not entirely. They make sure that you know that one of his parents was white for some reason.
Well, because that's important to know.
Well, it just made the whole scene just uncomfortable for no reason. Like it didn't add anything. Anyway. I'm gonna score Dr. No probably 2 on the metalness and maybe a 3 on the
3.
Because there are better scenes later. All right. So anyway,
I'll say,
but that's a different podcast.
And that's Bond Cast Them Down, which is a Patreon exclusive. Okay, so meeting people, learning their surnames, and then going off on ethnic tirades is unfortunately a little bit metal. So that's 2 points. The whole military decor, I think you could also argue is, I imagine that Joey DeMaio's room in his northern middle New York palace or wherever he lives looks very much like Trelane's drawing room.
He lives in Auburn, New York. Between Rochester and Syracuse.
Yeah.
And it's also where Harriet Tubman's parents lived after they got to Canada on the Underground Railroad and then said, we don't like Canada, so they decided to go to Auburn.
And moreover, posing around all those military accoutrements and material is very metal.
Like if I gave you a still of that set and told you that was like a famous metal person's living room, you would believe me. So I'm going to have to give it a 4 for those reasons. It's frustrating. I agree it's frustrating. There's lots of talking. It's very dated in places. There's so much.
My finger slipped.
Oh, well, it's a 4. Let's go.
We can go back in.
No, we're out.
No, we're out. We're out. We can't go back.
All right.
We move forward on this fucking podcast.
Honestly, my finger slipped. But next time, I'll cut you off early on purpose. All right, I'm going to hit play now.
Okay. Take it away, Doug.
Officer Spock reporting for Captain Kirk.
You're not
We've
Doug.
completed the 14th. Yeah, well, I was taking it away.
Okay, they've been around the planet 14 times trying to find the missing landing party. And they can't find nobody.
They overly explain how they kept the sensors operable.
Yeah, again.
I guarantee this guy was like, I'll add some scenes later. I'll get this up to the time it needs. And then he ran out of time. He's like, well, I'll just make all these scenes unbearably long then.
So while they're searching, they do find a little patch of, I guess, Earth-like area, a very small little area. Their sensors aren't working, but they think maybe if they could find life signs there, anywhere else, their people would be dead anyway, so it's worth trying.
And they can't, right, so they're just going to, anything living will be beamed up. Then we cut back to Trelane. Go ahead, Matt.
But, it just makes me wonder how transporters actually work. Because I always assumed transporters would need to know, like, what they're beaming from place to place to deconstruct and then rematerialize. It seems like a basic transporter function, but apparently that's not the case.
Right.
Because you can just point a transporter at something and it will bring living things from one place to another.
And I think it's McCoy who offers a very reductive explanation of what life is on the basis of what the transporter does.
Yeah. But I mean, that might be a nice quantifiable. Is it alive? If we put a virus in the transporter, maybe it won't get transported. So maybe that solves those conundrums.
McCoy's
we don't
posture
understand
is
the
weird.
paradigms of their science.
That's a great observation. If you look, McCoy's posture is often weird.
It's kind of like this for our YouTube and Twatchers. It's like his shoulders are back, so it's like he's leaning back like this. However, his head is forward.
Yeah. So, I wonder if he has osteoporosis.
If you walk through a low doorway, you know how you kind of bring your head down?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, also limbo. And that's how McCoy is standing.
That's a pretty accurate description, actually. Okay, so they're still talking with Trelane incessantly. He wants to talk about military stuff.
I fucking hate this episode. Oh my god.
They're very aggravated with him. They're trying to talk about life and death. But luckily
everything's fake.
Yeah. They mentioned women. And Trelane is very interested in women all of a sudden. And he asks if they can bring some women down. And Kirk, of course, says no, because he's a good captain and doesn't want to bring any member of his crew into danger. But sort of as they're talking with Trelane incessantly, they start beaming up. And they say, Trelane's like, what the fuck is going on? And they're like, we're out of here, asshole. And then they all appear in the transporter room. And Spock tells them, we didn't know you were there. We just beamed shit up. And it works. and they realize Trelane didn't get beamed up, which means he's not a life form, at least as they know life. So then they get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, and then Kirk orders maximum warp out of here, out of the base desert. And on the bridge, they're kind of all debriefing a second. Then Yeoman Ross notices that Trelane's on the bridge.
Yep.
And he calls them out for not displaying their weapons all over the bridge.
Yeah.
Oh, was this like the inspiration for Q or something?
Shut up. We're not talking about that yet.
Yeah,
That's for the Patreon listeners.
Yeah, that's for the Patreon. Well, that's clearly a memory beta kind of question.
You can join the podcast and down Patreon in the link in the description.
Downstairs.
It's the Linktree one. Go there. That's where all the links are. All of them.
All of them. So they get taken back aboard back into the drawing room, I guess. But this time he brought good old Yeoman Ross. He doesn't ask where Ross is from or give us another funny accent. But he's very enamored with Yeoman Ross. And this time they don't even have their phasers. And he just keeps doing weird fucking Trelane shit.
Uhura's there too.
Oh yeah, and Spock. So now they have Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Uhura, DeSalle, Yeager, Sulu, and Yeoman Ross. I guess that was everyone who was on the bridge, maybe? Possibly? Yeah, it's a lot of fucking people.
Scotty probably just dived out as soon as
he
he saw Trelane.
Slid into the Jeffries tube.
I think he only volunteers first to go on the away mission because he knows Spock's going to say no.
You just shoot him down. They'll go cower behind like a computer screen for the rest of the episode.
More of that. All of the food has no flavor. I think it was in the Act 1 where Yeager noticed that the fire puts out no heat. So everything here is kind of fake.
Mm-hmm.
And this doesn't surprise Spock at all. Because all he knows of Earth is Earth forms and none of its substance.
That's
true. He's just been watching from afar. Which he describes. So he says he finds this interesting, not fascinating, because fascinating is a word for the unexpected.
Right. It's much lower than fascinating.
And then there's conjecture that he must have some kind of device supporting him, because all this takes a lot of energy. And Spock conjects that it has to be much bigger than anything in this room.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the basis of space science then.
He's used his Trelane magic to make Uhura play the harpsichord. And then he notices that that Yeoman Ross isn't dressed appropriately. He's been dancing with her, so he magically transforms her into like Jane Austen, sort of. And so they're dancing around. But as he's doing all this stuff, they notice that he's always looking at the mirror. And so they're trying to figure out, why is he always looking at this mirror?
And Kirk has a gambit. And so he pretends to be jealous, I guess, of Ross dancing with Trelane.
Which I mean, pretends, I think, is pretty soft, because Kirk is clearly, Kirk, now that he knows that the Enterprise is probably safe, he's free to be jealous for human women. Because, Kirk wants all women to be his to reject in favor of the Enterprise. So he doesn't like it when women give attention to people other than him. I mean, that's pretty well established.
Especially foppish alien gods.
Yeah. I think he has a longer purple coat at this point, too, because he's been traveling.
Kirk challenges Trelane to a duel.
Mm-hmm.
And Trelane is ecstatic at that idea. He will not shirk an affair of honor. And he pulls out a set of dueling pistols, just like the pair that slew Kirk's heroic Alexander Hamilton.
And by the way, in case you're wondering, Tim, he never misses in a duel, which he's apparently fought before.
You're ahead of me because this fucking act is just...
Is he...
They're still talking about nothing.
Oh my god, how long is this act?
I don't know. Are you done?
Yeah, I mean that's the end of the
All right,
act.
great. Okay, I'm gonna give the quality a 0 because listen to how you talk about it. You are bored summarizing it.
Well,
you have taken out the boring parts and tried to make it interesting and just hit the highlights, but there are no highlights, and I'm tired of looking at this fucking racist, foppish morons, hair and teeth and sideburns that don't make sense.
You don't like his smoky teeth?
And the constant talking about nothing, and they almost got out. They almost got it, and then he draws them back in for a bunch of fucking nothing.
Yeah,
I think Tim's unhinged response shows that he's relating to the characters, because this is exactly what they're going through.
Yeah. It's if anything,
no, they're not. You know what they're doing? They're going,
also fascinating.
And then
no, it's not.
And then hang on. And then Uhura.
Interesting.
Okay, and then Uhura is like, I'm playing a harpsichord now. And this
is not for the only
what the
time
fuck is happening? I fucking hate this episode.
Doing something she doesn't want.
There's the head of an alligator mounted on the ceiling as well.
I'm glad you noticed that. I think it was during this this act that I had tried to imagine what Trelane smells like, because he's clearly very hot in his coat, and he's also clearly a chain smoker, as every actor in 1965 was. So I just imagine that he sort of reeks of smoke and velour and like bad cologne.
This episode needs a page 2 rewrite. Page 1 was great.
Wow. Okay.
Page 2 was, and beyond is just absolute shit.
So what's your metal score?
Terrible. All right. Well, the metal score, it's slightly metal. I'll give you that.
Right. Trelane refers to Uhura as a Nubian prize.
Oh
yeah.
Taking one of your raids of conquest, no doubt.
I argue that is not metal. Find me a metal example of where anyone has ever said that.
I'm sure it's in a Nile song.
It's not, though.
Oh, man.
The Nile is very scholarly when they write about stuff.
Okay.
They're not like, Nile is not to Egyptian culture as Running Wild is to pirate stories. It's not the same thing. All right. Oh, they tried to hit it. God damn, I'm finally to the fucking duel.
Well, you're just
it's
there.
Still fucking, it's fucking awful. Okay.
All right.
I'm going to
give this.
The metal score's a 1 because it's more than 0.
All right. I mean, I go ahead, Doug, but I think I'm going to do
on the basis
exactly.
of Tim's response. I'm going to go 7 and 7.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
No, you're not right. This is.
They are doing exactly what this is the story.
Oh, finally, it fades to black. Jesus fuck! Is this episode 6 hours long?
You yourself feel trapped at the behest of a malevolent being. You're living the characters' lives here and now, despite its fact that
No,
like
because
60
no one.
years later.
You know what? No, because the author did not write any reactions to anyone. They're all just observing and going, and then Kirk
They're
finally
highly trained space officers.
Yeah.
Kirk finally low key goes, "Well, I challenge you to a duel then." And it's
They're
not
military men,
like
Doug.
the possibly most awesome part isn't even awesome. It's fucking boring because everything else is boring in this episode. All right,
We should really do a
scores?
Historian Ruins Nile episode too. Hey, we both gave it. Doug and I gave them straight 7s.
Well, you're both wrong. All right, let's get the fuck out of here.
All right.
This episode better get better fast.
Oh, don't worry. It does.
All right, so Kirk's holding a gun and he almost looks down the barrel like a fucking idiot.
I mean, that's pretty metal. Okay.
All right, so now they're all slowly walking. They slowly get up from the table.
Matt, I got to call out this captain's log is registered as a delayed report.
Yeah, so this is like after the fact. That's a good point.
Well, when I get to this captain's log in fucking 5 minutes after they're done talking and not doing anything.
Oh, fascinating. I'm party to an actual human duel.
And so they get ready.
And Kirk says what Tim thinks.
Yeah.
Enough talk. Let's get on with it.
Exactly. Taking on the Tim characteristics.
Well, it would be one thing if, like, what they were talking about built any suspense or tension, but it doesn't. Mm-hmm. And finally, a gun gets pointed at someone. Need I remind you, he has a phaser. Okay. He took the phaser, and now it's gone.
Yeah, now they're gone.
The most exciting thing that happened in 2 acts ago was when he shot some statues.
Okay. Apparently, so now Trelane...
Apparently, a phaser on stun dissolves statues. So now we know.
So Trelane is up to something here, because Trelane takes aim, but then shoots the ceiling, purposefully missing Captain Kirk to see what Kirk will do. And what does Kirk do?
Point of order, though. Because the FOP alien says, well, you challenged me, so I get the first shot. That's not how duels work.
I thought I think you count to 10, turn, and fire.
Yeah, you both fire, and that's why...
It's the same...
I forget who, but was it Andrew Jackson who would take his time?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like whenever he dueled, and he dueled quite a lot before he ruined the lives of many, many people, and during, he would they do the paces, they'd turn, the first guy would fire, and then he'd take his time and aim and fire.
Yeah. Because he realized his opponent would be nervous and just want to get off the shot.
Yeah, well, so I call shenanigans on this duel.
Okay,
I get to shoot first. That's not how duels work.
Well,
you may be an astute observer.
No. Duels have been codified. There is a guide to duels.
We should just cut Tim discovering the episode. And just take us out of it.
No, this is the most interesting thing in this episode is me complaining about it. All right, because you two seem to be enjoying
Mike doesn't know anything
the
about
fest.
Earth. Just on the surface.
Okay, so Trelane misses. He hits the ceiling. Kirk then aims his weapon. And what happens? He shoots Trelane. And he dies. And the episode is over. The whole actor... No, he shoots the mirror. You're right. He shoots the mirror. And everything goes crazy. Like lights start flashing, things start moving around. Apparently,
do you remember in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the machine that makes everlasting gobstoppers?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like the end of that machine is behind the mirror.
Yeah, they're very much so. So Kirk has damaged the machine. Everything is going crazy. The subspace interference clears. They're able to contact the ship. Trelane is losing his shit. He says, "You're all dead men. You especially, Captain." He runs into his mirror and vanishes. And they get beamed back up again. And then
I think you're giving a lot of credit to he runs into his mirror and vanishes.
Okay, but
they did the same thing from before where like he's there and then he's not there.
I'm trying to make it.
The yeoman. I'm jumping ahead. Go ahead.
He has a name. It's Ross.
Yeah, Ross.
Sorry, I was distracted by all the nonsense. But go ahead, and then I'll interrupt.
Okay, so then they transport back up to the ship. And
okay, and then when they're back on the ship, I wasn't sure how long. What's her name still has the gown on?
Yeoman Ross.
Military.
Ross.
Well, she's out of uniform.
Well, that's not her fault.
And she doesn't seem to mind.
Space alien stole her clothes.
And Kirk doesn't seem to mind either.
Well, they make a joke about
that
it.
asshole should be court-martialed. Okay, go ahead.
Wait,
okay,
who?
Well, she's
Yeoman
gone
Ross?
No, Kirk. He totally checked her out.
I mean, they say, she says, may I have a moment to change? And Kirk says, yes, I think you might. Turn in your glass slippers. The ball is over. Huh?
And then he stared at her ass as she walked away.
And then DeSalle says, large body ahead.
Not that large.
Oh. Okay, right. So now now the planet is chasing them.
I've seen this before. It's called Blair Witch. Everywhere they go, they're back at the same place.
I mean, I unfortunately saw the remastered edition, and I would love to see what the planet chasing them looks like. Whether this is just like them all looking at a screen. There's the planet. There's the planet. If there's any like outside shots of this.
Yeah, they're flying around and they keep going towards the planet.
Yeah, like they keep turning around and the planet is there. And they're very visibly turning around. They're going like this way and that way and the fucking planet is there.
I mean, this is maybe when you don't yell out, because we know, nautical terms. It's just a shortcut that everyone understands today. And then it's just a way of describing the behavior of the ship. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Create your flight envelope and it steers like a ship. That makes a lot of sense. Maybe this is when you turn ship mode off.
Yeah. Zigzag. Yeah, because, I mean, they should have point to point.
They were going to port.
Yeah.
You have another degree of freedom or two.
Yeah. And maybe they should stop like calling out their moves. I think they can just like, because if you remember, except for the planet that's chasing them, they're in an empty region. So it's not like they're going to bump into anything.
Captain, I recommend we turn on space mode. It'd be useful if we could go up and down.
Yeah, like hard to down, full.
So, again. There was promise, and then someone's got to start talking.
What happened? What happened there, Tim?
All right, so Kirk is now in a Q-style trial.
Well, wouldn't you say he's in a Trelane-style trial?
Yeah, because there's way more talking. So now Trelane's in like a powdered wig, and he decides to talk at Kirk for a long time, and there's the shadow of a noose behind him. And then he's probably going to have to pay for humanity's sins in a 21st century courtroom, and then...
The trial never ends.
And then...
Except at the end of season 2 of Picard. The trial actually ended. I mean, spoiler alert.
And now he's guilty of something. I don't know.
And he's going to hang
I ignored all
captain.
the talking because who gives a fuck?
Trelane says, "You will hang by the neck, Captain, until you
you're
are dead.
Dead.
Yeah, I was
That
thinking
just
that'd be a good sample for like a 90s
yeah.
Slayer song.
Yeah,
that's the
that
end.
would be a great sample. Yeah, and
That-
that's the end.
That act seemed very fast because stuff happened.
Yeah, didn't it fly by?
Yes. Okay, so I wanted to give it a 9 and a 9.
Wait. We're not in the decision chamber, bro.
I wanted to give it a
All
9 and a 9. I just said it so fast.
Uh-huh.
The sound got there before we got the
Oh, okay.
I wanted to give it a 9 and a 9, but then the guy had to talk. So I'm
Uh-oh.
giving it a 5 and a 4.
5 metal, 4 quality.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome when a planet's chasing you.
Whew,
And
all
it's
right.
great when something actually starts happening 35 minutes into the episode and then comes to a screeching halt.
I'm just going to go on the record. I really like Richard Carlisle's performance in this.
Oh no, me too. I think he's some might say that he was Q before Q. I think if you look at some of these earlier Q episodes, you can see a lot of Trelane in there. It's not like Gene Roddenberry doesn't keep regurgitating the same ideas again and again. It's just that lots of similar things. But yeah, no, he's a great performance.
And while Tim's been correct in judging everything entirely on the basis of individual acts, I think the some of the nominal flaws will be addressed shortly.
Yeah. I think maybe someone, Doug, might be a little embarrassed for their impetuousness. In fact,
Nope.
Yeah.
Tally ho.
Elio.
Keep defending this bullshit. I'm doing my Duolingo.
Okay, what were your numbers there, Doug?
7 and 7.
7 and 7.
I would love a 7 and 7.
I would love a 7 and 7 too. Okay, I'm gonna give this a 7 quality score. I'm a little torn because I think the planet chase got a little silly, and I think it was hard to take that seriously. But I do like the supernatural beings trial trope, and we have to recognize this is the first existence of that in Star Trek, at least. So I'm gonna give it also
Just because someone did it first doesn't make it good the first time.
But if someone didn't do it the first time, they would never gotten it better the second time.
And,
Yeah, but
one
they
thing
could
I
have
do
done
want
it
to
first
call
the
out-
second. They could have done it first the second time better.
Like that's
That's a quote for a shirt right there.
You could have done it first the second time, but better.
I think at least two of the that'd be pretty meta war. Yeah. But they end several of the acts with incredible maximalism that they then immediately walk back. Which is of course standard cliffhanger stuff, but really is metal and works here.
I mean, but just Trelane's judge wig is at least one metal point.
In the cinematography, what they do with the noose you see by Shadow, it's outstanding looking for 1966 TV.
And it's fucking, again, I think I could see an early like metal video using all this aesthetic and like really enjoying it. So what words you learning there? Down there in Russian or Ukrainian or German. Oh, Jäger! Und Soldaten Deutsche, eh?
Are we done? Are we done? All right.
Yes.
What were your scores, Matt?
7 and 7.
Okay. God, you almost said it outside of the room.
I know, but luckily I was projecting backwards in time, So even if you heard it after we left, I said it before.
Wait, let me see if that's true. Nope. All right.
All right.
I'm gonna hit play.
This episode home. So there's a trial going on, I believe.
I noticed a typo in the subtitles.
What was that?
There was a space where there shouldn't have been.
Oh,
and now there's a missing space. So I guess in the end it all works out.
So there's like the courtroom going on. Tim's gonna love this part because there's a lot of talking.
Hey.
They point he's gone back to doing his Duolingo. But Kirk points out to Trelane that it isn't very sporting to simply hang him. Right? And Kirk says, you want to commit a murder? Go ahead. But where's the sport in a simple hanging? And Trelane seems really taken by this idea. And we get the sense that by this point, Trelane, who was once a mystery to Kirk, has now been seen and understood. You know, good old plucky Captain Kirk has figured it out and kind of knows what drives Trelane.
He grabs the executioner's hood.
Uh-huh.
But isn't the point of the executioner's hood to disguise the identity of the executioner?
Well, I mean, Trelane doesn't know that. He's just been watching from a distance, you know? He just knows the forms.
I want to disagree with you, but I think you're right.
Yeah, and then Kirk knows that the killing arts and death is sport, so he proposes essentially a most dangerous game scenario.
Yep. And so they will hunt each other, basically. And whoever wins gets the Enterprise. So if Kirk wins, he will get his ship back, and if he loses, then he's dead anyway. And you know, they're all in Trelane's hands. So now the hunt begins. He tells the ship to get away, and they're dodging and going in and out of shrubbery. They're like fencing kind of back and forth. Kirk has a tree branch.
I was obsessed with predators.
He very good observation. Very good observation. Kirk keeps trying to raise the Enterprise, and he's just going back and forth. There's lots of witty banter. Well, lots of banter going on, and finally, Captain Kirk, the stronger fighter of the two, disarms Trelane and beats him.
Okay, I finished my lesson and my streak is intact. And that was a better use of my time than watching this so far.
And so Trelane is upset because he can't beat Kirk, basically.
Well, Kirk won't submit.
Yeah.
Two things. So first of all,
there's a few tally-hos we missed too.
There's so much talking. I'm still not. They just went outside.
Oh my god!
And second, there's at the where the castle stops is the green screen. Where I don't know what the technology was in the 60s, but they didn't bother to put in the rest of the background. There's just a flat green background behind, you know, like 20
I
feet
forget
or
what they
so
call it,
behind
but
Kirk.
they had lights. I don't know what color it was originally, but they were massive lights, and it's the same alien. Like everything is. They just changed the color of the light filters.
Yeah, no, there's just a green wall back there behind the trees.
Yeah.
It's
I
very
think it's probably
flat
just a big, like,
atmosphere.
white sheet that they're bouncing light off of. So yeah, they fight for a little bit.
Let's turn this into React video.
Yeah. I think. Well, I mean, have they finished talking?
Kirk just tried to slice him, but he disappeared.
Okay.
And he throws the sword away, and then the sword appears in his hand, and the trees suddenly stop moving when the sword appeared in his hand. And he tries to slash Kirk, and then they're kind of like swashbuckling around through a tree. And it's obviously choreographed. Like, I'm way behind what you were talking about because he just threw down his tree branch. Kirk did.
All right, okay, we're almost there. This goes pretty quickly.
Running, and he goes up to the door of the castle, but it's locked. Or won't open, so he casually pulls out his tricorder, and the fop finally catches up, and he's probably gonna yell some racial epithets, and then so they're on the holodeck, huh? So
what do you mean?
Walls just appeared around Kirk, so he has nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not walls. They were just poorly rendered prison bars.
Bars, yeah.
All right, then he's saying a bunch of stuff. And, instead of doing anything awesome, they're just talking. Kirk is slowly approaching him, and what's his name said, "Good on your knees," and then Kirk says, "You haven't won, and you haven't won anything." And then I guess the alien wants Kirk to blow him because he keeps saying, "Get on your knees."
Whoa. Yeah, okay.
But I'm not defeated. I order you. Oh, and then he kind of goes to hug him. Oh, and then he breaks his sword over his knee.
Yep.
I think I have a sound for that. There it is. All right, then he punched him or something. Oh, and then
they slapped him.
He says, "You didn't play my game right. I'll show you." And then a woman's voice, Trelane, says it. And then, is that his mom?
Shit.
And then like some green energy in the trees is like talking. Is it really his parents?
Okay, I want you to pause this right now. I want you to pause this. Because this is a game I just invented right now. I want you to guess. So as you have revealed, Trelane's mother and father energy beings appear. Trelane is just a child. He really doesn't know anything. He's been playing at toys this whole time. So I will tell you, coming up next is a trialogue between Trelane and his parents. Basically just telling you the information I just told you. He's a child.
It's not 5 minutes long, is it? Because that's how much is left in the...
I want you to guess how much of that 5 minutes.
I'm guessing all 5 minutes.
I can tell you it's not all 5 minutes, but please guess, and we're going to play this out.
4.5 minutes.
So your guess is 4 minutes, 30 seconds. All right. Do you have the time code locked?
Hang on. What's my starting time?
Well, right where you paused it. How many?
Because they already appeared. Is it when they appear?
No, but that's fine. Yeah, from when they appear to the end of them talking.
How about from when his mom says, Trelane?
Yeah, that's good. That's
45:24. That's when that starts.
So 45:24. All right, press play.
All right.
And let's just see how long. Because even I, watching it, thought this went on for an awful long time.
And apparently his parent beams have a spotlight.
Yeah, well, that's how they capture him, I think. Like, Doug, do you remember when Q captured the Calamarains? I think it's a very similar kind of effect there.
Mm-hmm.
I
You
don't
can
want
hear
to
all
come
about
in,
this
and I
when
won't.
read the Q Continuum novels with
Yeah.
Elaine for the
Yeah.
memory beta Patreon, whatever we called that.
Can you guys record that without me?
No, you have to be there. You have to learn all about Trelane and the Q2.
I wouldn't
and Q.
deprive our Patreon patrons with. I wouldn't deprive them of my presence. And
Do you think you
brilliant
Try and read a
insights.
novel in 74 minutes.
Oh, yeah. You'll have to read the book
To
what we're
read it.
talking about.
All right, so they're still talking. He's saying,
Uh-huh.
"You'll grow up, Trelane." And then he says, "Oh, but you said I could. You promised." God,
It's like, do you think,
I didn't
do you
know
think
it was
Trelane-
possible to hate this character more.
Oh, he's really whiny. Like, if you were listening to him talk, you would be so pissed.
Oh, well, after that, I have to unmute it. Oh, shut the
Like-
fuck up.
Doug, do you think Trelane fought in the Q Civil War? Was he a Reb or a Federal?
All right, the spotlight's getting smaller,
Uh-huh.
and he disappears.
Uh-huh.
Is that the end? Oh, no, there's... now they're
get a
talking to...
bizarre,
Yep.
good bridge scene.
They're talking to Kirk and explaining what they've already explained, that he was just a child.
You must forgive our child. The fault is ours for indulging him too much. He will be punished. We will not...
We know
have
that
let him-
already. We've already understood that. Oh my god.
Right. Still talking.
Uh-huh.
All right, they're gone.
All
And then
right.
Kirk looks around slowly because there wasn't enough nothing happening. All right, so then he casually pulls out his
All right,
tricorder. Pause.
Yeah. So the lights are gone now. So how long was that?
47:45.
So it was only 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Well, it felt like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be 5 minutes. Myself as well.
Can
all
I
right.
unpause
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, you can unpause it now.
There's some good stuff in this end.
Yeah, now this is the ultimate ending.
You'll forgive me for not believing you.
So as usual, they're musing on the bridge, musing about their most recent adventure.
It's got vague how much time has passed.
Yeah.
They're also warping down, which I don't know if they've ever said.
And now they put on the 360 mode.
Yeah. So they keep saying, like, small boy. He was a very strange small boy. On
Or
the
the
other
God
hand,
of War.
yeah, they don't know how to like categorize him.
Somewhere between God of War and Small Boy.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole mischievous pranks thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where Kirk has been watching some videos from the 1930s.
Yeah, because Spock doesn't know what pranks are, and here are Kirk's examples of pranks.
Dipping little girls' curls in inkwells. Stealing apples from the neighbors' trees. Tying cans on, it cuts off in this transcript, but
Yeah.
I guess it's on someone's leg.
Well, he does. I think it was going to be cats, but Spock is already horrified and disgusted by him. So are we to believe that Kirk in his youth dipped little girls' curls in inkwells? And I mean, maybe there's apple trees.
I
But,
haven't spent much time in Iowa, so I'm not going to judge.
Maybe that's true. And Spock is just looks at him like he's a weirdo, and Kirk just kind of trails off. Like, I should have known better. Sorry, Mr. Spock.
All right, that's it.
And that's it. Da, 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 da.
All right. I hated it.
Oh no,
Nothing metal
Just-
about kids.
there's a strong emotion.
3 and 3. I'm looking up the author of the episode, Paul Schneider.
Uh oh.
Um,
Sounds German.
Story
Doug.
For the 1959 animated Mr. Magoo film 1001 Arabian Nights. That sounds like you know, when you have like that predictive text write you a story. That's what that sounds like.
Now, this act, the last few minutes, they could have got we get it, he's a kid, and done all that in 90 seconds at most. But I find the most dangerous game thing pretty good, and I like all the Shatner delivering how he won't submit, how you can, whatever it is, he can vanquish him but not defeat him. Spirit of man stuff.
Yeah, triumph.
And all of that is very metal, too. And I think this impetuous kid wreaking havoc on a bunch of people he just encounters in space for no reason. That whole, that's a good, progressive metal album. I'm sure it's been written. I'm sure this episode has been adapted. But ultimately, this is really a Twilight Zone or an Outer Limits episode.
Yeah, this guy is out of his depth trying to write an hour-long Star Trek episode.
No, what? But he also wrote... He wrote The Balance of Terror.
No, it's all filler. He clearly
there is a lot of filler, but some of the filler works, I will argue.
He put all of his energy into Balance of Power, or Terror, or whatever, and then waited until the last night to turn in this script. Because it's a bunch of nothing. You should go back to writing Mr. Novak, or... the Lieutenant. Oh, and look, he only wrote one episode for all these things because they're like, oh, well, this was shit. Move on. We don't want you. I'll pass you off to the show Manhunt, which was only a half hour, so I bet he could have written something interesting there. Or he did 5 episodes for How to Marry a Millionaire, so.
Here's my script, Mr. Roddenberry. I think it's amazing. And where's your other one? I'll have it in the morning. I forgot to get it typed.
He did 2 Mod Squad episodes, 3 $6 Million Man episodes, 2 Buck Rogers episodes.
This guy's a genius.
But and 11 Marcus Welby MD episodes. But then for most of the rest, it was 1, 2... Anyway.
The Trelane performance is excellent.
Yep.
And he can he can act right there with Shatner. So there's an intensity to their exchanges.
Yeah, no, there is. You're right there as well.
I think both of you are nuts for giving this so much credit.
I mean, it's an iconic, memorable episode. I think
No, I'm going to forget it forthwith.
What are we recording the podcast?
Tim's going to be subconsciously quoting Trelane for years. And
like
not
he's going to be like a
tally
ho.
Greetings and felicitations.
I'm looking for the actor who played...
I can't wait.
Memory Alpha sucks sometimes. Just give me the fucking cast. There it is.
I can't wait for the liner notes of the next Eisenmore disc to say greetings and felicitations from Eisenmore.
I don't write those.
Oh, you mean William
Campbell? RPG if it's anything.
Oh, he later played Koloth, Doug.
Koloth. Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, what were your numbers there?
Great. I can't wait to see this asshole again.
He's good as Koloth.
I hope so. I don't know if I could do more of these.
That's why they're lurking Klingonese across the quadrant. That's what the line says.
We're going to go with 7 and 7.
7 and 7, strong scores. I am going to have to give this a 6 and a 6. I do like the reveal. I do like the big climactic man versus man finale. I like the reveal, but I do have to admit that Trelane's parents talked for a very long time, and they could really have trimmed that down and gotten the point across. We understand. I think Trelane,
that's where they talk too much.
I mean, there's a lot of talking, but he says it isn't fair 17 times. It isn't fair, but it isn't fair, but it isn't. It's just too much. It's just too, I know what they were doing. I know they were trying, but
we'll say, especially the ending, which is virtually identical. The amazing Twilight Zone episode, probably my favorite, Stopover in a Quiet Town, nails this ending in 30 seconds.
Yeah. I think that's exactly right. So, incredibly, I have our results. Tim, you'll be happy to know that this is sitting on our season 1 trend line. It's a perfect middle of the road episode. It's right in the middle here. It's not an awful episode like Shore Leave or Mud's Women. It's not an awesome episode like The Balance of Terror or the Galileo 7. It's just a pretty solid middling episode. If you have 50 minutes to kill, I recommend you go watch it.
And fast forward, you can do this episode in 20 minutes and not miss anything.
All right, yeah. I mean, that's true too. And then you'll have a whole episode of Lower Decks you could watch in addition.
That it?
So on behalf of Tim and the rest of the podcast and down Star Trek crew, we'll see you next time for Arena. Motherfucking Arena.
Oh, you know what an arena is? It's where things happen.
Get your goddamn
happen.
Get your medal points ready because they're going to be flying all over the fucking place in our next episode.
Sure as fuck hope so.
And we'll also learn about chemistry.
Chemistry?
Yeah.
So yeah. Hated chemistry.
Oh. Well.
Let's see how Tim saves this ending in the ending. Bad.
Like this. You wanted me to say something clever. Nope.
But I wasn't finished studying my predators yet.
Oh God, shut the fuck up.
But I was winning. I was winning. It's not fair. You saw I was winning. Honest. You saw I was winning. It's not fair. I was studying them. You saw it's not fair.
Shut up. Shut up.
They're sentient beings, Trelane. It's not right.